Class is in memory of Jared Orchen, and today we'll learn the Haftorah of Parshat Shabbos Chazon. Parshat Devorim Chazon. 1468. Now before we go anywhere, we want to point out that this Shabbos has a special name. Shabbat Chazon. There is like 5-6 Shabbos of the year with names. This Shabbos has a name. It's called Shabbat Chazon. Why it's called Shabbat Chazon? Because the Haftorah starts with the word Chazon Ishayahu, the vision of Isaiah. But that's not, and because every year we read the Haftorah of Chazon Ishayahu, we read always before Tisha B'Av. The Shabbos before Tisha B'Av is always called Shabbat Chazon. Actually, I remember in 1990, I think it was 1991. When was Mushki born? 1991, I think. It was the same. It was the same like this year. The Saturday night was Tisha B'Av. On Friday, I wrote to the Rebbe that I'm asking for a blessing to go, for his permission and a blessing to go to open a Chabad house in Solon. And the Rebbe gave me the answer I got on Friday afternoon before Shabbat this week. And by Sunday evening, the end of Tisha B'Av, Mushki was born. And a week later, we came to Cleveland. And then it was the same exact thing. And the Rebbe answered me, it should be in a good and auspicious time. It was a very good blessing. And since then, it's a good and auspicious time in Solon every day. And Baruch Hashem, I got, from this neighborhood, I got probably the only one who got such a straight blessing. Clear, without any hesitations or any but, if, and. A clear blessing. It was the same kvirs, it was the same way. Saturday night was Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av was a Shabbat, and Saturday night it came, you cannot fast on Shabbat, that you fast on Saturday night. And Miriam delivered Mushki while she was fasting. Even she didn't have to, but whatever, it got complicated. She couldn't already drink. And Mushki was born Sunday night, yeah, she'll be 25 she's supposed to do, probably. I don't remember exactly what, but probably, yeah. Maybe 26? Maybe she's 26, I don't know. In any case, 25?
Don't let her know you want.
I think it's 191.
Don't let her know you want.
That's okay. If I remember the names, it's good enough. Then Shabbat Chazon is called Shabbat Chazon because it's the Shabbos before Tisha B'Av. Shabbat after Tisha B'Av is also a name. Shabbat Nachamu. Why? Because the Haftorah starts with the word Nachamu, Nachamu Ami. Comfort my people. Nachamu means to comfort. After the destruction of the temple, God is comforting his people. Menachem Begin was born on Shabbos Nachamu. That's why they call them Menachem. Comes the word comforting. Then there is other Shabbos of the year who have a name. What other Shabbos of the year have a special name?
Shabbat Gadol.
Shabbat HaGadol. The Shabbos before Pesach, it's called the Great Shabbos. Why it's called the Great Shabbos? Because the miracle, 4 days before the Jews left Egypt, God told the Jews to take the lamb, the Passover lamb, and tie it in their house to their bed. The Passover lamb was the god of Egypt, and God told them to slaughter them. The Egyptian heard that they were going to slaughter the god of Egypt. Says why? Says in 4 days God is going to kill all the firstborn. That the firstborn went to Pharaoh to ask him to let the Jewish people go, to let the Israelites go. Pharaoh didn't want. It was a war between the firstborn and the Egyptian army. That was a huge miracle. Shabbat HaGadol, the great miracle. Then you fight, then there is the Gentiles, the two enemies of the Jews were fighting on behalf of the Jews. Couldn't be. The firstborn were fighting the army to let the Jews go, to let the Israelites go. That's called Shabbat HaGadol. The great Shabbos, where a great miracle took place there. Any other Shabbat, special Shabbat, do I have a name?
Shabbat Shuvah?
Shabbat Shuvah, very good. Between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, the Haftorah of Shabbat between Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur starts with the word Shuvah Israel, return Israel. Do Shuvah. And because this is the 10 days of Shuvah, the days before Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, it's called the days of repentance. It's called Shabbat Shuvah. Any more?
Is it Paro? You said 4. So that's more.
Shabbat Shirah. Shabbat Shirah is the Shabbos of the song of the sea. When we read in the synagogue, the Shabbos of song, it's called Shabbat Shirah because it's a special Shabbos. And there is a custom by Jews, by some Jews, to feed the birds before Shabbat, to prepare food for the birds, because they were kind of singing with the Jews, and the Jews left Egypt, it's a whole thing. In any case, we have that this Shabbos is one of them, Shabbos Chazon. And this is a very special Shabbos. Now, what's Chazon means? A vision. That Rabbi Yitzchok of Berditchev said something amazing. Rabbi Yitzchok of Berditchev was one of the biggest, famous Hasidic masters. We mentioned them quite a few times, that he was the guy who used to always defend, that he was called the defender of the Jewish people. Always find something good to say about the Jew. Then he said that on Shabbat Chazon, God shows every Jew the third temple. You know, we had one temple was destroyed on Tisha B'Av. We had a second temple was also destroyed on Tisha B'Av. And on Shabbos Chazon, God shows us in a vision the third temple. That's what he said. And he gave an example, a parable. He said, like, a parent bought to his child a suit. The child was wild, he ran around, he tore it, he shredded it into pieces. He bought him another suit. He did the same to the second suit. The third time he bought him a suit, he hung this up in the closet and told him, when you be a mensch, I'll show it to you. When you know how to grow up and to know how to wear your clothing, I'll give it to you. So too, God gave us one temple, we lost it. Gave us a second temple, we lost it. God shows us the third temple, says, guys, if you will behave, I'll give you the third temple. Now, everyone thinks in his mind, I don't remember last year Shabbos Chazon, I saw the temple. Rabbi Yitzchok of Berditchev said he showed the temple, I didn't see anything. There is a concept in Judaism, if you don't see, your neshama sees. Now, what does this mean? There is a, Talmud says, every day comes out a voice from God. Quite a few voices. One of them says, a call from God, voice to the Jews, voice to God that he destroyed his temple, voice to the Jews. Calls. Then the point is, if I cannot hear what the sounding, the calling from God, what's the point of the voice? The Alter Rebbe explains in the Kutei Torah, he says like this, the neshama is like a robe. The top of the robe is by God, the bottom is by me. When it's shaking in top, it's shaking in the bottom. The neshama hears the sound. So, if the neshama hears the sound, it has a certain effect on me. It means to say, when a person wakes up suddenly in the middle of the day, he wants to do a mitzvah. Out of nowhere, thinks about the synagogue. Thinks about the class. Even if he doesn't go. Or he goes the day after the class, something from the class comes to his mind. It comes from somewhere. It comes that the neshama was awakened in heaven. The same thing here. The neshama sees the third temple. What is this affecting us? That before Tisha B'Av we have a yearning for the coming of Mashiach. We say, we talk about the destruction of the first temple and the second temple. We mourn Tisha B'Av. That we have awakening about when is going to be the third temple, what's about Mashiach, thinking about this whole concept. That's what brings us Shabbos Chazon. We have a vision. Chazon means a vision. We have a vision of the coming of Mashiach. That's the name of Chazon. Now we'll go to the Haftorah. The Haftorah is chapter 1 in the book of Isaiah. Isaiah was a prophet for over 50 years. Isaiah was before Jeremiah. We learned last week about Jeremiah. Last 2 weeks about Jeremiah. Isaiah was before them. Isaiah was over a time of 4 kings. And he was prophesying What was the names of the kings? Uzziah, Yatom, Achaz, and Chizkiyahu. And this chapter 1 is probably the last prophecy of Isaiah. It starts with the end, so to speak. Very harsh prophecy. Most of Isaiah's prophecies are good prophecies. The name of his name Isaiah, Yeshayahu, comes from the word Yeshua. Yeshua means salvation, redemption. He was a prophet of comfort, of good prophecies. But the beginning is so harsh. Wow. Dangerous. When was Isaiah delivering this prophecy? In the time of Chizkiyahu was the king of Judah. What happened at this time? The Assyrian kingdom was very strong, was the superpower. The Jews, as usual, as we spoke last time, always made the wrong choices. Politically, the wrong choices. Always. The day they were, when Assyrian was strong, they were against Assyria. Basically, the Assyrian king Sanherib came and he conquered pieces of the land of Israel, of the northern tribe, northern kingdom, of the kingdom of the 10 tribes. When we say the 10 tribes, the lost tribes, what mean they were lost? They were exiled. They were conquered and exiled, conquered and exiled. Now the Assyrian king philosophy was not to kill people, is to exchange people, societies. The people from New York should come to Cleveland, the Cuban people should come to New York. Nobody should ever claim ownership on his property. He took the people, the first one to be exiled were the 2.5 tribes who sat on the other side of the Jordan. They were the first one to go goodbye. And then little by little, over a period of 20 years, I don't know, he conquered everything. And he finally came on Jerusalem in time of Chizkiyahu. And he almost conquered Jerusalem. He was this close. And a huge miracle took place. That on the night of Pesach, when he came to conquer Jerusalem, all the soldiers died from a plague, and the rest of them went away, and Jerusalem survived. But why for such a miracle? Jerusalem was already a little shtetl. Everything around Jerusalem was gone, vanished. Everything was destroyed, exiled. This is the time that Isaiah gives his prophecy. And he tells the Jews that if you don't shape up, this will be gone too. That's what he tells them. And he blames them for that's all because of their between men and men problems, the society, a corrupted society. That's why many socialists like these chapters and other chapters from the book of Isaiah, because he speaks about social issues. Interesting enough, on Yom Kippur, we read another prophecy, I think from Isaiah, right?
58.
Right? Chapter what?
58.
Yeah, here you go. Thank God for that. Then he also speaks about social issues. Why don't care of the poor and of the naked and of the this? You can think that, Yom Kippur, you'll speak about, doing tshuva, putting on film, going to shul. No. You come to shul, God tells you, take care of the less fortunate, and so on and on. Now, just a general idea, in my opinion, what happened is like this. We see that the prophet, we spoke about it a few times over the years, the prophet speak a lot about social issues. You almost don't hear the prophets speak. They speak about not worshiping idols and social things. You don't hear about them, you're not coming to shul on Shabbos, you're talking middle of davening, you don't put on film, you don't keep kosher. You don't know why you don't keep echveizvos? Nothing. You don't hear them. Why nobody puts up mezuzahs on the door? You don't hear them talking about it. The Jews in Israel were religious. They observed rituals, but they were not good between men and men. Between men and God, not so bad. Only problem that with is the idol worshipping. They were so confused. They were a little idol, a little God, a little there, a little there, giving a donation to the idol place, then a donation to the shul, just to be covered. But the main problem was social issues. In the Talmud, the rabbis, you don't hear them speaking so much about social issues. They speak more about religious issues, rituals. Why? Because the Jews were exiled. They went to the diaspora. Socially, they became nice people, caring people, good people. But religiously, they lost it. And to take today, bringing Isaiah to the table, say, oh, hey. We are not so bad socially. We are not. It's all about how you look of it. But you are not. The Jewish people are very, very socially, we are very charitable, we care for each other. We are outstanding in our care. We can pat on ourselves on our shoulders. But the Jewish people are, every nation could envy the Jewish people on this. But religious-wise, that's a problem. Now, after this long speech, we'll start to read a little bit and we'll see where we're going with this.
This is the prophetic vision of Yashiyahu, son of Amos.
Amos.
The following was prophesied about Yehuda and Jerusalem in the days of Uziyahu,
Uziyahu, Yotam, Achaz, and Yechizkiyahu, kings of Judah. Continue.
Thank you. Hear, O heavens, and listen, O earth, for it is God and not I who have spoken these words.
Wow. Hear, O heaven, and listen, O earth. Who said these words, similar words? Shimo shamayim va'azini eretz. Hear, O heaven, and listen, O earth. Who said something similar?
Gotta be Moses.
It got to be Moses, but where? Only Isaiah chapter 58. What's going on? Where Moses saw that.
Thank you.
Who said it? Where?
In Germany.
Where and what?
Witnesses.
Go to Mount Sinai.
No, not Mount Sinai. I'll show you. Listen, I'm not smarter than you. I just learned it. Page 1339. Parshas Azinu. Right before the end of the Torah, before Moses died. He says, Azinu hashamayim va'adabeiro v'tishma haaretz imrefi. Listen, O heavens, for I will speak. Let the earth hear words of my mouth. Right? That's first of all, the whole concept. Talking to the heaven and earth. What does this business mean? The heaven and earth is here forever. God takes the heaven and earth, Moses, Isaiah, and says, they are the witnesses. Human beings are coming and going, but the heaven and earth are witnesses here that what I told you, they will be witness to what I say. But there is a different how Isaiah used it and Moses used it. Isaiah says, hear, O heavens, and listen, earth, right? Moses says, listen, heaven, and hear, earth. What's the difference between these two? When you tell somebody listen, when you tell somebody hear, when you use this expression, when is the difference in this expression? What do you think?
One is to understand.
You can hear
The
something. but
Shema
not
and
listen.
the Shema.
Oh, then the way the Talmud puts it, listen, you say to somebody who is close to you. Listen to me. You hear me? Say to somebody who is far away from you. Right? Moses says, listen, heaven, and hear earth. Isaiah says, hear heaven and listen earth. What does this mean? Moses was closer to heaven.
Distance.
Spiritually, he was closer to heaven. He speaks to heaven, listen, heaven. To the earth who is further away from him, he says, you hear me? Isaiah, start from bottom up. He says, listen, earth, and hear heaven. Here he says to the heaven is up. What means heaven and earth in this sense? Heaven and earth is not talking about a physical way. Heaven represents spirituality, and earth represents physical things, material things. Moses was was closer to God, to spirituality. He says, hear, O heavens, and listen, heavens, and hear earth. It means to say Moses' job was to bring down heaven to earth. Right? What happened at Mount Sinai? God came down at Mount Sinai. That was Moses' accomplishment, if you want. He brought heaven down to earth. Isaiah's job is to take us closer to heaven. To bring us closer. That was Isaiah's job. Therefore, he said he was closer to earth. Now, what do you think is a harder job?
Isaiah's job.
Right, I give it. You can convince God 1,000 times to come to earth, but to convince the Jews get closer to God, much harder job.
Interesting, because Isaiah is, according to some commentators, is second basically in prophecy only to Moses. I guess this is one of the verses that would support that.
You're right. The connection shows you yeah, absolutely. That's what the Medrash puts it together. And that's why Isaiah is saying. What is he saying? He says, listen, Banim gidalti veromamti. I have reared. I want to continue. It's middle of number 2.
I reared and raised my children, the Jewish people, above all the nations, and they have rebelled against me.
And they have rebelled against me. I raised my children, I took care of them, and they turned their back to me. Couldn't be a bigger disappointment for a parent. That's what God is saying. It's starting very harsh. This is like, whoa, it's like, continue.
Even an ox recognizes its owner, and a donkey its master trough. But Israel does not want to know me. My people, whom I have helped, do not try to understand what is good for them.
Oh, yeah, the ox knows his owner. Even the ox understands his owner and respects him. The donkey, who's not as smart as the ox, at least knows where the trough, where the food is, right? And by the food, he knows where to go, who to listen, he understands. Israel, when God calls the Jewish people, they have 2 names, Jacob and Israel. Jacob is the lower word name. Israel is more higher. Jacob means hill. Israel means head, li rosh. God calls them here Israel. Israel, I elevated you to the level of Israel. Li rosh, you are the head of me, so to speak, the head of God. They are rosh, they are the leaders of the world. But you, Israel lo yada, you don't know me. You suddenly don't reckon, you don't, you did somebody a favor, and 2 weeks later he looks at you like he never met you before. Really, you don't remember me? Ami lo itbonan. Ami means, God calls them Ami, my nation. He doesn't call them Am Israel. Ami, my people. They don't think what's good for them. They don't even think what they're doing, where they're going. A lot of words of disappointment of God from the behavior of the Jewish people. Number 4.
Rabbi?
Yeah.
But when God created us, He knew all this.
I know. You have a child who is, you're expecting bad behavior. Doesn't mean you are happy about it. You still tell them, I can't believe it, you did it. Well, I can't believe it. You saw him yesterday doing the same thing.
Your kids are going to be teenagers eventually, right?
Exactly. Sure, God knew, but God knew that it's up to us to become better.
So this is...
God wanted to destroy the Jewish people. He tells Moses, they are a stiff-necked nation. Then Moses takes the same argument and said, forgive them because they are a stiff-necked nation. Right. Both of them are right. You understand what I'm saying?
So God is still trying to teach
the whole job is, what's the job of a prophet? The prophet in Hebrew is Navi. Navi is like le'avi, to bring. He brings the word of God to the people. He's a teacher. He's trying to change the people by words. He's not like Moses delivering them water and this, but he's trying to inspire them. Number 4. See it? Oh,
you sinful nation of people who were once holy and are now heavy with sin, holy offspring who became wicked, corrupt children. They have abandoned God, disgraced the Holy One of Israel, and separated themselves from Him.
Whoa.
Right?
Am keved avon. They are full, they are heavy with sins. It could be also translated, sins are heavy on them. The Jewish people, even when they sin, it's lazy, it's heavy on them. They feel guilty. They don't feel good about it. That's a good part. Keved over. It's heavy on them. Okay, we are in number 5.
And again, He still calls us corrupt children. We're still children.
Absolutely. We'll see it even further more how much we are still children. And God says it, Isaiah said it, and Jeremiah said it, and Moses said it. No matter what, He's not looking for another nation. Nothing to worry about it. No matter what will happen, we are stuck with them, and He's stuck with us. It's a marriage for good. Go ahead, number 5.
Why do you allow yourselves to commit the same sin repeatedly, continuing to turn astray and be stricken again and again? From being stricken so many times, every head is heavy and every heart is pained. From the sole of the feet to the head, nothing is sound, only wounds, bruises, and open sores, untreated, unbandaged, not softened with oil, yet you continue to sin and incur yet more lashes.
And you have sores, and it's so bad, it was at that time, and you still continue. You see something is not going right. You're still stubborn. One of the stiff-necked people we mentioned, stubborn Jews. They do the wrong thing, and they continue to do it. I was right, no matter what happened, no, it's nothing to do with this. Everyone is sure that he's right. I never heard a Jew say he's wrong. I never met a Jew admitted that he was ever wrong. It doesn't exist.
Interesting commentary here. I mean, it's individualizing the people of Israel. It's talking about individual wounds, bruises, and things like that. It's a personification
Of individual people.
Yeah. Well, it's Israel being personified here.
You're right. You're right. First it speaks about the people. In a minute it will go to the land. Number 6 is start to speak about the land. Yeah, but it speaks about as like there is one body, basically, you want to say. The whole Jewish nation is like one body. There is the head of the Jewish people, the leaders. There is the heart of the Jewish people. Jews like to do favors. There is the end of the Jewish people, like people who like to run around and do mitzvahs. There is the legs of the Jewish people. You know, in the leg, on one end you don't feel anything. People have no sensitivity to anything and anyone. Basically, it's called Komash Lema. It's a full human being in every generation. The tzaddikim, the Rebbe, is the head of the Jewish people. And from there it's all going, and everyone is another part of the big nation, of the big body of the Jewish people. Some people are belonging to the head, others belonging to the heart. One is the right hand, one is the left hand. The people are more kinder on the right, the people are more stricter on the left, and so on and on and on. It's one big body. And therefore, when a Jew says, it's my business. If I do something wrong, it's for me. No. You cannot cut off my toenail and scream, it's only the toenail's problem. You feel the pain in the head. And that's a proof. If you want to know who is a Rebbe, in your brains, the brain feels the pain of the toenail, right? Where you feel the pain? It's here. If the tzaddik doesn't feel the pain of every Jew, he's not the head of the Jewish people. To be the head of the Jewish people means to feel the pain of every Jew. That if there is a Jew in Kathmandu who will not have matzah for Pesach, if he's the head of the Jewish people, he will feel the pain. And it will bother him that somebody is not doing well. And that's a sign. People say, oh, there is a tzaddik. A tzaddik is somebody who is the head. If he's the head, he must be. If not, he's a cord of head. It's not good. He's dead.
When we just read the other day about Moses and Joshua getting into Joshua's going to have the Spirit. Feel the Spirit or meet the Spirit.
God, Moses said, appoint a person who can feel and understand the spirit of every human being, who can relate to everyone. Usually, certain leaders, every person, you can relate to certain people like you. You cannot relate to every type of person. A leader has to be able to relate to everyone. Everyone's pain has to be his pain.
Do we have any of those?
Today, I'm looking for them.
Bill Clinton, I feel your pain.
Okay.
Zip it.
Number 7.
Therefore your land is waste, your cities burned down, strangers eat your farmland before your eyes. It is desolate, as if destroyed by foreign enemies from afar.
He says your whole land is desolated, destroyed. Because it's after the Assyrian king came and destroyed everything in Israel. What was left? Number 8, continue.
The city of Zion is left uninhabited, like an obsolete hut in a vineyard, like an abandoned night hut in a cucumber field, like a besieged city.
Okay, he says Jerusalem is left like a sukkah, like a little thing. The historians say that Sancherib wrote in his book, in his writings, whatever, on stones, whatever it was, I destroyed Israel, and I left Jerusalem like, they left there like a bird in a cage. Similar to what Isaiah describes it. Like a hut, a little shtetl in the middle of nowhere. Yeah, you have Jerusalem, but look how the whole story looks like.
What's the significance of the vineyard here? It's a common metaphor that's used for the Jewish people.
The Jewish people compare to wine, to vineyard. Sure, many places. Why the Jewish people compare to a Geffen? It's because like wine, the more time it stays, it becomes better.
Also turns to vinegar.
So,
The grape juice is sweet, obviously. You can turn to wine.
no, wine becomes better and better. The years of the Jewish people is doing good to them.
Until Turks become vinegar.
That's what he just said. Yes, they can vinegar.
Syria was the.
Number 9. What's the problem?
The question is this during first temple or before?
First temple. It's 50 years before the destruction of the first temple, right? Around. It's the year 700 BC.
586. 620.
It's how it depends how you calculate in this.
This is the prophecy that's 50 years before?
Before the destruction of the
And
temple.
he's still telling the Jewish people this prophecy?
Well, when you tell you,
Like they need 50 years to get
He's
together.
trying to help them.
and because God is forgiving and waiting and giving another chance and another chance, another chance. Okay, we are in number 9.
If the God of hosts had not left us a small remnant in his kindness, we would be destroyed like Sodom and like Gomorrah.
Sodom and Gomorrah, he says, what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah? Nothing was left. He said, if not the Rachmanes of God, Jerusalem would also be destroyed. We would be completely destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah. Now he describes what is happening, basically, the situation. Here he turns into reprimanding the Jewish people, giving them a speech. But how he starts, let's start only number 10 and we'll see something interesting. Go ahead.
Quick question before we get to this
Go ahead.
concept of the remnant. Is this the righteous remnant or is this just a remnant of the Jewish people?
Physically, Jerusalem stayed, a remnant of the Jewish people. No, I don't think it's talking about, Sarid means leftover. Yeah, no, I don't think you're talking about a specific person. But the Jewish people were left in Jerusalem, and a little bit of Israel was left.
Do we have any idea how many people were left?
Maybe you know. I don't know. It's a really odd question. I don't know. My guess is as your guess. I don't think too many. Talking about a small wall to begin
I mean, it
with.
sounds like it turned into a village. To a little-
Basically, place maybe 20,000 people. I don't believe more. 30,000, 40. I really don't know. It's very hard to know.
Very sad.
But when you go around in the old city, how many people could be there? How many? People say, you know, and the three times a year on the holidays, all the Jews came. How many people could go be there? How many? Not so many. I don't think it was so many people to begin with. In any case, what is he saying in number 10?
Hear God's word, you who resemble the nobles of Sodom. Listen to the teachings of our God, you who resemble the people of Gomorrah.
Wow. A minute before, he just said, if God would not have Rachmanes on us, we would be destroyed like Sodom and Gomorrah. A minute later, he's comparing the Jews to Sodom and Gomorrah. And the Talmud learns from here, Leolam ala yiftach adam pe l'satan. There is something that's called, do not say something bad, because it might happen. Don't start. The moment he compared Jerusalem to Sodom and Gomorrah, the next step was, he just wanted to give an example, right? The next step was, Oh, you the leader, so you're like Sodom. Hey, since when we became like Sodom and Gomorrah? What is this? We're not like Sodom and Gomorrah. But the moment he mentioned Sodom and Gomorrah, it was already the next step. Therefore, the Talmud says a person should never say, oh, don't do it because it might be bad. Don't give the bad a place, because by saying it, you're beginning the creation of the bad. You know, you come to the doctor, he tells you the worst scenario. Why not the best scenario? Why the worst scenario?
He doesn't want to be sued.
We are creating our own destiny.
He doesn't want to be sued.
I know. Don't jump on the table, you might fall and break your head. Who asked you to talk like this?
You're going to jump on the table.
לעולם אל יפתח אדם פה לשטן. Do not open a mouth for the Satan. Do not give the Satan a chance. Do not give the possibility to the Satan. Therefore, the Rebbe, one of his most amazing things, he never said a negative word. By the Rebbe's language, nobody died. They're not alive. Even this he didn't say. He never, even when he quoted a verse who has a negative statement, he only quoted the F of the verse. He used to twist the verse upside down, not to take out a bad word from his mouth. To an extreme. The Rebbe's mouth never came out a bad word. Never, ever, ever. And no matter what the issue is, not even on people, on situations. It was something not comfortable happened there. Something not wishful on anybody. We didn't say what happened. He used to speak, let's say, about an earthquake. He once spoke about the earthquake in Morocco that many Jews died. He says, we all know what happened in Morocco, and he moved on. He never said or described in any way, shape, or form bad things. Al iftach adam per Satan. A person should never open his mouth and give a possibility, create a reality of bad. Because your words create already a reality. You always speak good.
But this is saying, it started
I
with
know,
saying
I know. That's what
these
we
aren't my
that's
words.
what we learn from. We learn from here not to do it.
but he's saying
This-
it's God's words.
I know God's word, but it's still the prophet speaks his word.
It's a consequence of the prophet.
God inspires them and he talks. It's still not every
They're not
prophet.
really direct words.
Every prophet had his own style.
Okay.
There is a statement in the Talmud: never two prophets prophesy in the same style. After all, they had their own personality involved there. Then no matter how you look of it, it's still the word, and that's what we learn from. We learn that the Talmud comes on these words. So you see what happened. He started to compare Jerusalem to Sodom and Gomorrah, end up to compare the later. So from this we learn not to do this. We don't blame them. We just say it's a lesson for us.
Moses takes dictation, the rest of the prophets paraphrase, basically.
Yes. Oh, it's a big difference. And Moses, it's dictated every word from God. 5 books of Moses. That's why this is the law of the Torah, law of Judaism. This is prophecy. It's a different level. It's a lower level. It's words of God, but the choice of word, obviously that was the will of God that should come out this way, but doesn't make a difference. Still, what we can learn from it. Page 1469, number 11.
Why do I need all your numerous sacrifices when your accompanying confessions are insincere, says God? I had enough of your burnt offerings, rams, and fattened cattle, and I do not desire the blood of cattle, sheep, and goats, since they do not bring you to repent.
What God says here, it's not that he doesn't want cattle or this. He says, if you bring me animals, sacrifices without you sincere returning to God, I don't need it. I don't need these things. It's disgusting me, God says basically. I'm satisfied. I had so many I need animals, I need your heart, I need your soul. There was a rabbi there's a famous rabbi in Israel. He came to France to speak at the big dinner of Chabad. He turned around to the crowd and he says, we don't want your money, we want your neshama, we want your soul. God says, I don't need cattle. I don't need sacrifices. I need you. It's like a wife tells her husband, don't bring me presents. I need you, not the presents. Not that presents are bad. They come with you, not to buy without you. Number 12.
When you appear before me at festivals, I will say, who asked you to do this, trampling my temple courtyards?
Whoa. God says, when you come to my temple, I says, who need you here? The Talmud says Ravuna was a rabbi in Babylon. He used to say, when he used to come to this line, he used to cry. He says, woe is to a master that he wanted his servant to come to him, and when he comes, he tells him, I don't want to see you. God told us to come 3 times a year to Jerusalem, right? And when he come to him, he says, look, why are you coming trampling on my temple? Violating my temple, I don't need you here. That's how bad it is. That's how sad the situation is. Number 13.
Do not bring any more meal offerings, for they will be in vain. For the 3-finger fistful that burned on the altar is offensive to me. When groups of you bring the sacrifices of Rosh Chodesh, Shabbos, and festivals, I cannot bear the falsehood in your hearts. I hate your Rosh Chodesh and festival offerings. They are like a burden to me, and I cannot bear them.
Whoa. No. Chadshechem u'moadechem sana nafshi. That's a very harsh statement. I hate your holidays. That's what God says. If you don't have your sincere feeling here, I don't need your Pesach and your Shavuos and your Rosh Chodesh and your Shabbos. I don't need it. There's an interesting statement from some Hasidic Rebbe said, we have now, in the diaspora, we have second day Yom Tov, right? In Israel, it's 1 day Yom Tov. In the diaspora, it's 2 day Yom Tov. Everywhere in the diaspora. Why? Because during the Second Temple, the Jews were exiled and they didn't know the whole thing. That one Hasidic Rebbe said an amazing line. He says, we see in the second day Yom Tov there is more excitement, more joy among the Jewish people. Israelis missing out a lot about the second day Yom Tov. First day Yom Tov, you come to the Seder, you're so tired you cannot even breathe. The second night Seder, now you can relax, you slept well. Yeah. Why? He says, because on the second day Yom Tov, Hashem never said, I hate these holidays. The holidays were not there. Hashem never said, Chadshechem u'moadechem, your holidays, I can't stand it. He never said it about the second day Yom Tov. Therefore, the second day Yom Tov are loved by God. That's an interesting twist. Number 15.
When you spread your hands in prayer, I will turn my eyes away from you. As much as you pray, I will not listen, because your hands are all full of blood.
Wow. Number 16, go ahead.
Cleanse and purify yourselves by repenting. Remove your evil deeds from my sight, and refrain from doing evil.
Rachatzu izaku. Wash yourself. Clean yourself up, your hand. Wash your hand. We should clean our behavior. Then God will be able to look at us. Number 17.
Learn to do good, seek justice, and support the oppressed. Demand justice for the orphan, and plead for the cause of the widow.
Oh, here it is. It's a statement. You can put it on the official party lines. Take care of the poor. You can quote straight this, and you say, this is Isaiah said, it's under the Bible, straight on the Bible. What do you want from us? As Jewish as you can get. The problem is, every movement in the world always quoted the Bible. Because the good side of the movement is in the Bible. It's true. The only problem is that they take out pieces that they like. When you take out the pieces that you like, you're creating your own book. If you take, it's a package deal. Okay, then we should defend the poor and the orphans and the widows. Number 18.
Come now and let us clarify who has offended whom, says God.
Come now and clarify. Let's have an argument. Nivokho means an argument. Spoke before, you said that God never gave up on the Jewish people. It's your truth. God said, let's have a conversation about that. Let's clarify things. Come now and let us clarify. Go ahead.
If your sins are like scarlet thread, and you return to me, they will become white like snow.
Oh, go ahead, continue.
If they are as red as crimson, they will become like wool.
Oh, you see what's written here? God first of all is very optimistic. Your sins could turn from red to white. Red represents sins, and white represents purity. That's why in Yom Kippur we wear white. The whole idea of red used to be on Yom Kippur, used to tie in the beginning on the top of the Holy Temple a red string, and over Yom Kippur it turned white, and when it turned white they knew that God forgave the Jewish people. Later they saw that the Jews got too excited about this thread, and they started to tie it on the horns of the scapegoat. And when it turned white, they knew that. And that's what he says. Im miu chatoechem kashonim. We say this line, we say a lot on Yom Kippur and Rosh Hashanah. If your sins will be red will be very red, they can turn into white. It's, by the way, the people run around with the red ribbons, just to get an idea what Judaism thinks about it. Number 19.
If you desire to listen, you will eat the best of the land. But if you refuse and rebel, you will be eaten by the sword, for God has spoken.
Here he gives a clear choice. If you will listen, you will live the fat of the earth. If you're not listening, you'll be in trouble.
So that's the prediction what's going to happen 50 years later.
Exactly. Now starts like a new prophecy.
So the history of the kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Judah, and reading that history and recalling it seemed like the kingdom of Israel was so much worse.
Much worse.
Than the kingdom of Judah. But obviously, we're hearing this being said about the kingdom of Judah.
It's interesting because really, he said that during Chizkiyahu's time, and Chizkiyahu was considered a righteous king.
Yes.
And everything. But from the eyes of the prophet, every bad thing is magnified. That if he says, if a few of you are worshiping idols, shame on you.
So to some extent, is this a matter of expectation?
Absolutely.
It's the story of the...
Absolutely, it's a matter of expectations. No question about it.
There's also
like Moshe,
And when you read in the book of Kings about Chizkiyahu, the best king ever, was the righteous king. He was, everybody learned Torah. Like who, is this the same story?
So Hashem had a higher expectation from
Yes.
the kingdom of Judah, presumably.
Because they were living around Jerusalem, they were saved.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the kingdom of Israel were idol worshippers for 300 years.
Yes, that was
And the economy was booming there. You're right. That's, it's when you read the book, the Tanakh, not the 5 books of Moses, the prophets, it's hard to read because it's one bad story after the other. And you ask yourself, but you don't realize in between it's written, and the land was quiet for 4 years, and the land was quiet for 8 years. Well, good 8 years. But the prophets are not come to tell you, and this old lady was so nice. It's about, the prophet's job is to tell you what is bad and what you should correct. That's what I'm here for. It's like, the Russian parents don't know how to give a compliment. I grew up in a home. Compliments?
You didn't mess up today. Good.
Exactly. When you deserve a compliment for being a mensch. It was like, that's what you're supposed to do. I came to America, it took me a while to learn to accept compliments and give compliments. Because it's another culture. The job of the prophet is not so much to tell, you're such good boys and this. Even there is prophets like this, but in general it's like, what's going on here? It should be much better. It's all a matter of expectation. We might speak about the charts. In any case, number 21.
How the faithful city of Jerusalem has become unfaithful like a Herod.
Hey, let's stop here. I want to show you something in the Hebrew side. Chof Aleph. What's the first word of this verse? Is the letters Chof Aleph is the Eicha. What is, where we know the word Eicha from?
Lamentation.
The book of Lamentation. You want to see another Eicha? I'll show you. on page 1127, the beginning of this Parshat that we're going to read on Shabbos, right in the beginning, in the beginning of the second Aliyah, 1127, on the Hebrew side, you see the second line, the last word in the second line, on 1126. Give time for everybody to find it. 1126, the second line, the last word of the second line is Eicha. Then we have something very interesting here. Moses said Eicha, Isaiah said Eicha, and Jeremiah said Eicha. The book of Lamentation was written by Jeremiah. This Haftorah is from Isaiah, the beginning of Isaiah, right? This is Moses. 3 prophets use the word Eicha. All of them in connection to the Jewish people. Moses said, on page 1127, number 12, what Moses said, how could I slide it? What is this? Single-handedly deal with you. How can I carry you? Moses said. Isaiah said, how you became such a bad nation? How the fruitful city of Jerusalem has become unfaithful as a harlot, like a harlot, right? And Jeremiah, when we're going to read the book of Lamentations, said, Eicha yashva badat, how lonely is sitting the city. The famous city is lonely and desolated. Then see what is happening. This Saturday, we will read all the 3 Eichas. We'll read Eicha from the book of Deuteronomy, that's the first Parsha. We'll read from the Torah. We'll read the Haftorah, Eicha Aita Lezona, and we'll read at night the beginning of the book of Lamentation that starts Eicha Yoshva Badad. It's not my accomplishment, it's a Medrash speaks about these 3 things. Now the Medrash says then that Moses saw the Jews in the good times. He told them, Eicha, I cannot, you are so good, I cannot carry you on my shoulders by myself. So another story with Moses that he said, what will not get into. The second thing is Isaiah said, saw them when they are promiscuous in a bad way. You became like an harlot. What does this mean? You became like an harlot? You are worshipping other idols. We are married to God. We are the wife. God is the husband. We are married to God, and we are going to another God. It's like having an affair. That you became like an harlot. That's Isaiah. He saw us when we are wild. We have good and we are wild. Jeremiah says, how is the city so desolated? He saw us after the destruction. That's the 3 Eichos. Now, there is a word in Hebrew very similar to the word Eicha. Also 4 letters, the same letters, but they are different vowels. What is the word? The same word, the same letters. Eicha, but not Eicha. You're not here to answer. What do you think? Also a famous thing. Oh, go ahead, what?
It's got to start with the ch.
Aleph, Yud, Chaf, A, the same word. But the same letters.
But not in the same order.
The same letters. No, the same order.
Same order.
The same order, just the vowels are a little different. But the same order. The same word, basically. Ayeka. Who said to whom Ayeka? Corey, I was expecting you to know that. Ayeka. God asked Adam, after he ate from the tree of knowledge, where are you? Ayeka. Really, that's the same question. Moses, Jeremiah, Isaiah, they all ask us, Eicha, where are you? What happened to you guys? The same question.
And not already.
That's what I was expecting of you tonight. And here, again, even the Haftorahs are officially not connected to the Parsha of the week, they are connected to the time. You see in every Haftorah the connection to the Parsha. Eicha in the Parsha, Eicha in the Haftorah. That anybody will ever tell you, oh, these Haftorahs are not connected Parshas. Nonsense. Are all connected Parshas. We see it in every week when we learn how they're connected to the Parshas. Oh, it's 9 o'clock. Let's continue. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It was full of justice, and righteousness was always there. But now it has become a city of murderers. In your business dealings, your silver has become dross, and your strong drinks diluted with water. Your rulers are corrupt and are friendly with thieves. They all love bribes and run after favors. They do not judge the orphan, and the widow's case does not reach them.
It looks like the political environment today.
Why are we laughing?
Continue.
Therefore, the Master of Israel, the God of hosts, says, Oh, I will appease myself of anger against my rivals and take revenge on my enemies. I will pass my hand over you to strike you with the one blow after another. I will smelt your impurities as if cleaning them with soap, and I will remove all your impurities of tin. I will restore.
Okay, continue. Howard.
I will restore your judges to the righteous as they were at first, and your advisors as they were in the beginning. Afterward, you will be called City of Righteousness, Faithful City.
And now comes the best line, the remedy for all our tzores. Go ahead.
The city of Zion will be redeemed through the observance of law, and those who return there will come due to their acts of righteousness.
It's in Hebrew, it sounds better. Zion b'mishpat tipadeh. Zion will be redeemed with mishpat. What's mishpat? Justice and law. Veshaveh, and now you redeem the captives of Zion? B'tzedakah. With tzedakah. Charity and righteousness. Therefore, during these 3 weeks, we are giving extra charity and we're extra learning Torah because this is the time of the destruction. Isaiah tells us the remedy, how we fix all these things. Tzion b'mishpat tipadeh v'shaveh b'tzedakah became a slogan by the Rebbe during these 3 weeks. He always said, we have to do Tzion b'mishpat tipadeh v'shaveh, learning more and giving more charity.
Is that a type? Is that
No, tin.